Andrew Torre, CEMEA Regional President at Visa. Thank you very much indeed for joining us here at Economy Middle East.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Now, today we'll discuss Visa's commitment on financial inclusion and fostering positive social impact through the Visa Impact Series. And we're looking forward to having your insights.
Good. I'm looking forward to sharing with you.
So could you tell us more about Visa's mission enabling access to the digital economy, and why is it particularly important in empowering small businesses?
Yeah, so, the digital economy is, we talk a lot about it. It is anywhere from 15 to 20, 25% of economies globally. It varies here and there, but when you think about financial inclusion and then access to the digital economy, they're both vital for prosperity, for getting great outcomes. And as a purpose-led organization at Visa, our mission is to uplift everyone everywhere by being the best way to pay and be paid. That means providing vital financial services and access to economies. I'll just give you an example. In the MENA region alone, the World Bank estimates that over the next 30 years, about $1.6 trillion worth of economic growth is going to come from the digital economy, and that's about 50% per capita increase. So if you're not able to participate in the digital economy, you're not being able to benefit from that growth. Small and micro businesses, about 60 million of them in our region are excluded. So we're working really hard with our partners to be able to bring those small and micro businesses and the 60 million consumers in our regions, giving them access to the digital economy and access to financial services. So that's been really, really important for us.
And what are the groups that are most affected by this? What are some of the main challenges that they face?
Yeah, so, certainly small and micro businesses. They represent large parts of the population. They're the backbones of communities. So they're really, really important. And in particular, and it's probably apropos today as we're celebrating International Women's Day, we have a particular focus on women-led small and micro businesses because their outcomes have not been nearly as good as male small and micro businesses. So they're the backbones of the economy, but there's work for them to do. And we do a couple of things. We have our She's Next platform, which is our global advocacy. There's part of it is global advocacy. A part of it is really hands-on work on the ground. I'll give you a good example of this. In the MENA region, we did a SMB digitalization study to really understand what were some of the challenges that women-owned businesses were facing in terms of what we were just talking about, getting access to financial services and access to the digital economy. And we found a number of things, which are probably not surprising, but they certainly give us a path for what we need to do next. And one of them was around being able to support with the expertise to be able to start using digital financial services, whether it's to pay or to be able to receive payments. The other one was access to capital. You need to invest capital in this as well. And then the third area was around mentorship, training, things like that other small and micro businesses need. And in these 4 countries where we did it, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, and Egypt, there were similarities around some of those, but there were some differences which are worth bearing out. In Saudi Arabia, certainly there was a need for tech expertise, but 71% of women-led small businesses were actually already accepting electronic payments and card payments, which was great. 60% were actually using the online channel. So there's a good story there around the acknowledgement of that. They still needed more capital to be able to address that. In the UAE, about 76% of women-owned businesses needed expertise to be able to start accepting payments. In Qatar, it was around 50% of women that needed expertise and then access to capital. Egypt was really interesting. Huge, 99% of women-led businesses that we surveyed there said they absolutely understood and wanted to be able to get access to financial services and to be able to automate and digitize their business, but they were really restrained by expertise and knowledge. But if they got that 95%, we're going to invest that money right back in to be able to digitally enable themselves. So it provides a really good blueprint for things that we think about. We work with governments across the region. I'll talk in a minute about our She's Next, the other part of our platform. But one of the things we did with that platform with Munshaat in Saudi Arabia, which really is the ministry that looks after small and digital and micro businesses, they also had the same focus around helping women-led businesses. we did a program with them and some training. So to amplify the things we do on the ground, but bring it out to more women's small businesses. And the things we do on the ground in countries, our She's Next platform is we invite women-led businesses to come in, to compete, work together, to be able to get one, access to funding or grants. So we do that with I Fund Women. For the winners, $10,000 grants. But there's more than just the money. I was here in this innovation center last year, where we had the winners of the participants of the program in Dubai, and the women were coming together. They're sharing ideas, they're networking, they're training, they're mentoring, they're learning from each other, and you could see that these partnerships they develop. So there's lots of great work. Has to happen at a macro level to address the issues, governments help, and then the things we do on the ground to support small and micro businesses are also really important.
Very interesting. And any personal stories you can share that paved the way for economic growth?
Yeah, there's some really good ones. One of the privileges I have in my job is I go out to visit our markets. We cover 88 markets here, and I do make time when I go out to meet these entrepreneurs and these fintechs. And I've got 3 examples from across our region. Since we're talking about the Middle East and MENA, I'll start with one that is really, really important and near and dear to my heart. It's a She's Next program winner in Morocco. Her name's Miriam. The company's called Neoli, and she understood the amazing work that handicraft artisans from across Morocco, they produce these beautiful goods. They actually are about 2.5 million artisans. 80% of them are women-owned. And she realized that their sales are limited to the people that walk into their small stores or stalls, whether you're in Marrakesh or Fez or Chefchaouen and all these other beautiful cities in Morocco. And she realized there was a need to be able to put their goods online so the rest of the world, could see them and buy them. And you can think about if you were able to expand your customer base from the people that walk into your stall to those who look online. It's been amazing. It's been great for these small businesses. And she's really been able to then provide that feedback loop to here's what customers are buying, here's what they like, here's what's selling. And it starts to influence how they also change what they make to different tastes out there across the globe. So that's one. If we then travel further south, I've spent a bunch of time in Nigeria, and there is a fintech, one of our fintech winners from our Visa Everywhere initiative. His name's Ayo Arikawe, and this is a man that dreams big and tries to solve complicated problems. So he's from the heartland in Nigeria, and he noticed that agriculture represents about 20% of the Nigerian economy, 30 million small farmers out there. But the thing he noticed was, though, that they have a growing season, then they sell their crops, and at the end of that process, they were still poor. Most of them were still poor. Huge, complicated, intractable problem. And he sat down and thought about what he could do and what tech he could bring to help them. So he thought of 3 things. One was, they need better data to manage their business. By getting that data, we can also allow financial institutions, when they get that data about their business, can start providing them with loans. And then the third challenge they had was often when they would go to market or sell, they would sell to someone else who would take a lot of the economic value associated with the harvest. So they've opened up 400 warehouses to allow small farmers to go. So there's another entrepreneur. And then the last, if we go further east in Kyrgyzstan, Bishkek is a thriving capital of that country. Lots of small trade, buyers and sellers all come into Bishkek, and there's a market there called Dadadoy. 60,000 sellers there, accounting for $3 billion a year in economic output and sales. So we've worked with the association there to be able to create an app where they can digitize payments, make it easy, allow financial institutions to be able to lend them money. And I think what's emblematic of many of those sellers in that market, Zarina is a women-led business. She was providing cosmetics to women, but with a focus on the South Korean cosmetics market. She took that step and said, I'm going to go and I'm going to start to digitize, and I can get more money through that and start to expand my business. So those are 3 great entrepreneurs that have done wonderful things, all different, but all amazing in their own ways.
So that brings me to what's next in Visa's commitment in terms of increasing access and inclusion in the MENA region.
We have so much work to still do, right? We have these 600 million consumers and 60 million small and micro businesses. We're going to continue doing the things we're doing. We're definitely going to continue the work we're doing with She's Next, working with governments to be able to help and support them as they try to address small and micro businesses. I think, and I touched on it a little bit around our fintech programs and innovation. So if you're going to make challenging problems better, you're going to need some innovation. We're sitting here in our innovation center in Dubai. We're in the process of completing and going to be opening our second innovation center here in the region, in the Middle East, in Riyadh. So one of the things is in our innovation centers, we bring clients in and we talk about what are the challenges out there and how we can solve them. The other thing we do is, I mentioned, we have our Visa Everywhere initiative, which is a global initiative, but the power of that initiative is it starts at a local level, at either local markets or regions. And in this coming year, we're going to be launching 9 local country editions. They'll be in the GCC markets, plus they'll be in Iraq, in Lebanon, in Jordan, and in Palestine. So in each of these markets, we invite fintechs to come in and innovate to find the ways they can create better ways to pay, commerce problems like IO solved in Nigeria. And I think it's the combination of our innovation centers and our working with the fintechs that that's where they start to see the needs and challenges and opportunities in a market, which happen at the local level. So people think digitization is just taking an existing process and making it digital. That just may make it faster, but not better. So when you bring together experts in our innovation centers, they can see some of these challenges and meet these needs and make them better. So we're really, really working hard, across our markets, particularly here in the Middle East and North Africa, to start to solve some of these problems with partners.
And what inspiration do you think Miriam, Ayo, and Zarina, the entrepreneurs that'll be featured in the videos, will share with other SMBs?
Yeah, I mean, all the entrepreneurs are different. I would say 2 things about them. If you are an entrepreneur, you're going out and you're taking a risk, right? You're trying to build something that hasn't been done before, or maybe you haven't done. They're all unsung heroes. That's the one common thing about them, and they've all had real impact. With Miriam, I mentioned earlier, I'd been there to see her. And when you see her on the ground and you see the work she does with the Women's Sewing Collective, she knows them by name. She spends time with them, and she's really purpose driven. So, the benefit of her business is she sees the real benefit to the Women's Sewing Collective and the women that she helps support who are her customers. With Ayo, I mentioned this problem that he had to solve, and it takes real empathy to solve the problem. You have to understand what those small farmers' needs are. And when you listen to him and talk to him, those problems became his problems, and he really worked to solve them. And then with Zarina, it's a classic entrepreneurs or innovators dilemma. Things were going well for her, but she then took that next step and said, I'm going to change my business, I'm going to digitize it, I'm going to invest in this, and I'm going to make it better. And which I think is something that all entrepreneurs have to go through. They have to all self-invent and reinvent themselves. All of these innovators and founders and entrepreneurs are wonderful, and they all have done such a great job. We're just really proud of them, and I was frankly proud to play a small role in Visa helping them grow their businesses.